Be patient and tough. Someday this pain will be useful to you. The storm does not ask if you are ready. It arrives without warning. One day life feels stable, predictable, and familiar. The next, something shifts. A loss, a setback, a disappointment, a season of uncertainty. Many people spend years fighting reality, wishing events had unfolded differently, replaying old wounds, carrying anger toward circumstances that can no longer be changed. Yet every moment spent resisting what has already happened is a moment surrendered to suffering. Life keeps moving forward while the mind remains trapped in a battle it cannot win. Look closely at nature. The harshest winters eventually give way to spring. Violent storms exhaust themselves and clear skies return. Day becomes night, and night becomes day again. Life follows the same rhythm. Good times pass, difficult times pass. Success rises and falls. Comfort comes and goes. The Stoics understood this truth deeply. They knew that peace is found when a person stops demanding that reality obey their wishes and begins learning how to work with reality as it is. As Epictetus said, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens. Then you will be happy." Every setback carries a choice. A person can sink into bitterness, feed anger, strengthen sadness, and become consumed by what was lost. Or they can meet adversity with courage, accept what cannot be controlled, and focus their energy on the duty that stands before them today. This lecture explores how the Stoics faced hardship, why resistance creates unnecessary suffering, how adversity can become a source of strength, and why every difficult season contains the possibility of renewal. By the end, you will see challenges through a different lens and learn how to move through life's storms with greater resilience, clarity, and purpose. Let's begin. Life becomes heavy when the mind refuses to release its grip on what has already happened. A person can carry a single disappointment for years, revisiting it in quiet moments, replaying conversations that ended long ago, imagining different outcomes that will never arrive, and searching endlessly for a version of reality that no longer exists. The event itself may have lasted a day, an hour, or even a few minutes, yet the resistance to that event can continue for decades. Many burdens are not carried by circumstance alone. They are carried by the ongoing struggle against circumstance. While life moves forward, the mind remains standing in yesterday, staring at a closed door and demanding that it open again. The tragedy of resistance is that it feels productive while accomplishing nothing. The mind convinces itself that one more replay of the past will provide closure, one more moment of anger will deliver justice, one more season of resentment will somehow repair what was lost. Yet every return to the same wound deepens the habit of suffering. Energy that could be used to build, heal, learn, work, serve and grow becomes trapped in a cycle that leads nowhere. The days continue passing whether a person accepts reality or argues with it. The years continue moving whether a person chooses peace or chooses resistance. Reality never pauses to negotiate with human wishes. Many people spend their lives fighting battles that ended long ago. They fight former versions of themselves. They fight old mistakes. They fight difficult childhoods. They fight betrayals, failures, missed opportunities, and moments they wish they could erase. The body remains in the present, yet the mind keeps traveling backward into territory that cannot be changed. This creates a constant feeling of friction, as though life itself has become an opponent. The Stoics understood that this friction drains strength, clouds judgment, and prevents a person from seeing what remains possible in the present moment. The modern world makes this struggle even more difficult. Every day presents new opportunities for comparison, regret, disappointment, and frustration. A person sees the success of others and questions their own path. A person looks at aging and wishes time would slow down. A person experiences financial pressure, health challenges, family difficulties, or unexpected setbacks, and begins demanding answers from circumstances that offer none. The temptation to resist reality appears everywhere. It appears in the desire to control what cannot be controlled and to force certainty into a world that has never promised certainty. This is why acceptance is often misunderstood. Many people hear the word acceptance and assume it means surrender, weakness, passivity, or approval. The Stoics saw something entirely different. Acceptance means seeing clearly. Acceptance means removing illusion and looking directly at the facts as they exist. A Stoic does not waste precious energy pretending that reality is something other than what it is. The facts are acknowledged, the situation is examined honestly, and attention is directed toward the wisest response available. Clarity becomes the foundation upon which meaningful action can stand. The wisdom of Epictetus cuts directly into this struggle because it addresses one of the deepest sources of human unhappiness. After observing the suffering created by resistance, expectation, and attachment, he offered a simple yet demanding truth. Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. These words challenge a habit that many people never question, the habit of demanding that life follow a personal script. The habit of measuring happiness against expectations that reality never agreed to fulfill. The habit of treating every deviation from the plan as a personal injury. When viewed carefully, the quote is not asking a person to abandon ambition or effort. It is asking them to stop fighting facts. A person can still pursue goals, build a career, improve relationships, strengthen health, and work toward a better future. The difference lies in how they respond when life takes an unexpected turn. Resistance adds unnecessary suffering to every setback. Acceptance preserves strength. Acceptance allows the mind to remain steady enough to adapt, adjust, and continue moving forward without becoming trapped in bitterness. Consider how much emotional exhaustion comes from wishing that the past were different. Every moment spent arguing with reality is a moment unavailable for growth. Every hour spent feeding resentment is an hour that cannot be invested elsewhere. Anger has a way of convincing a person that they are moving forward when they are standing completely still. Sadness can become familiar enough that it begins to feel like home. A Stoic learns to recognize these traps and gradually withdraws energy from them. Attention returns to what can still be done today, because today remains the only place where action can occur. Peace often begins quietly. It begins when a person finally stops demanding answers that may never arrive. It begins when they stop asking life to reverse itself. It begins when they stop measuring every experience against an ideal version of reality that exists only in imagination. The struggle softens, the mind becomes clearer, and a different kind of strength starts to emerge. A person discovers that much of the suffering they carried was rooted in resistance itself, and with that realization comes the ability to meet the present moment with greater honesty, steadiness, and purpose. One of the hardest truths for a person to accept is that nothing stays exactly as it is. The mind often searches for permanence in a world built upon movement, change, and transition. People want success to remain, relationships to remain, health to remain, comfort to remain, and favorable circumstances to remain. Yet life continues flowing regardless of what anyone wishes to hold on to. Seasons change without asking permission. The tide rises and falls without consulting human desires. The same force that brings prosperity eventually introduces challenge, and the same force that delivers hardship eventually carries it away. A storm may seem endless while standing beneath dark skies, yet every storm in history has eventually passed. Winter can feel permanent when the landscape is frozen and silent, yet spring quietly approaches even when it cannot yet be seen. Life follows this same rhythm. A difficult chapter can convince a person that suffering will last forever. A successful chapter can convince a person that comfort will never leave. Both assumptions are fragile because they ignore the nature of reality itself. Change is woven into existence, and every experience arrives carrying the certainty that it will one day depart. This understanding sat at the heart of Stoic wisdom. The Stoics observed nature carefully because nature reveals truths that human emotions often attempt to deny. Trees shed their leaves and grow them back. Rivers continue flowing regardless of what enters their waters. Day turns to night, and night returns to day with unwavering consistency. Human life moves according to similar patterns. There are seasons of growth, seasons of loss, seasons of abundance, and seasons of struggle. Wisdom begins to emerge when a person stops demanding permanence from experiences that were always temporary. Marcus Aurelius captured this reality with remarkable clarity when he wrote, "Time is like a river made up of the events which happen and a violent stream." The image is powerful because every person has stood beside moving water and witnessed how impossible it is to grasp it. The river does not pause. It does not move backward. It does not preserve any moment forever. Every event enters the current and continues downstream. Joy enters the current. Pain enters the current. Success enters the current. Failure enters the current. The river carries them all forward with equal certainty. Many forms of suffering begin when a person attempts to stand against that current. They try to preserve a moment that has already passed. They try to cling to an identity that no longer fits their circumstances. They try to resist the natural movement of life itself. This struggle creates exhaustion because it demands energy without producing progress. The current continues moving regardless of resistance. A Stoic learns to recognize this reality and direct their strength toward navigating the river rather than fighting against its flow. This shift creates a sense of peace that remains available even during uncertainty. The same wisdom applies during periods of success and prosperity. Good seasons deserve appreciation because they are temporary gifts rather than permanent possessions. Gratitude becomes deeper when a person understands that every pleasant experience exists within a larger cycle of change. The Stoic enjoys moments of comfort without becoming dependent upon them. Success is welcomed without becoming a source of arrogance. Recognition is appreciated without becoming part of identity. This creates stability because happiness is no longer tied entirely to circumstances that can change without warning. Difficult seasons require a different virtue. They require patience. When hardship arrives, the mind often demands immediate relief and immediate answers. It wants certainty about the future and reassurance that everything will be fine. Yet life rarely provides those guarantees. Patience allows a person to endure uncertainty without surrendering to despair. Patience allows them to trust that today's circumstances are not necessarily permanent conditions. The storm may still be raging, but the storm itself remains part of a larger cycle that continues moving forward. Seneca addressed this tendency toward fear when he wrote, "Nothing is so certain in our fears that it is not yet more certain in the fact that most of what we dread comes to nothing." Human beings possess a remarkable ability to suffer from events that have not happened. The imagination creates future disasters and then reacts as though those disasters already exist. Days are spent worrying about possibilities that never arrive. Energy is consumed by scenarios that remain forever unrealized. Seneca understood that fear often gains its power from uncertainty rather than reality. A Stoic learns to return attention to what is actually present instead of becoming trapped inside imagined futures. This perspective changes the way adversity is experienced. Challenges are still difficult, loss still hurts, disappointment still carries weight. Yet these experiences are viewed within the larger context of life's continual movement. The person understands that this chapter is part of a greater story. They understand that circumstances can change in ways they cannot yet predict. They understand that many storms eventually reveal opportunities, lessons, relationships, and strengths that were invisible while the clouds remained overhead. This awareness creates resilience because hope is grounded in the reality that life itself is always moving. The person who understands life's seasons no longer places complete trust in either prosperity or hardship. They remain grateful during favorable times and steady during difficult ones. They recognize that every condition is temporary and that change continues its work, whether it is welcomed or resisted. The mind becomes calmer because it stops demanding guarantees from an uncertain world. Attention returns to the present day, to the responsibilities that exist now, and to the opportunities hidden within the current season, whatever form that season happens to take. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid difficulty. They hope for smooth roads, predictable outcomes, and years untouched by disappointment. Yet some of the most important qualities a person can develop are only discovered when life refuses to cooperate with those hopes. Strength is rarely built during periods of comfort. Wisdom is rarely developed when everything unfolds according to plan. Character is tested when circumstances become uncertain and familiar ground begins to shift beneath one's feet. The very experiences people often wish to escape can become the experiences that transform them most deeply. Adversity has a way of revealing truths that comfort keeps hidden. During favorable seasons, it is easy to believe that resilience exists simply because nothing difficult is demanding its use. It is easy to assume patience is present when there is nothing worth waiting for. It is easy to feel courageous when fear has not yet appeared. Life eventually presents challenges that remove these illusions. Suddenly, the person stands before uncertainty, loss, hardship, rejection, or failure, and the qualities that once existed only as ideas are invited into reality. This is where growth begins to move from theory into lived experience. Many setbacks arrive carrying lessons that cannot be seen immediately. The mind naturally focuses on what has been lost, what has changed, or what has gone wrong. Attention becomes fixed on the obstacles standing directly ahead. Yet obstacles often contain hidden opportunities that reveal themselves only through patience and continued effort. A closed door may redirect a person toward a path they never would have considered otherwise. A failure may expose weaknesses that require attention. A difficult season may force the development of strengths that would have remained dormant for years if life had remained easy. This understanding sits at the heart of one of the most powerful insights found in Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius looked directly at adversity and recognized something that many people overlook when challenges appear. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." These words invite a complete shift in perspective. The obstacle is no longer viewed solely as a barrier. The obstacle becomes part of the path itself. The challenge becomes material that can be worked with rather than an enemy that must be endlessly resisted. History offers countless examples of this principle in action. Many of the people remembered for their wisdom, leadership, perseverance, and contribution to others were shaped by periods of tremendous difficulty. They faced rejection, failure, uncertainty, hardship, and loss. Those experiences forced them to adapt, reflect, endure, and grow. The difficult chapter often became the chapter that prepared them for everything that followed. While few people would willingly choose suffering, many later recognized that some of their greatest growth emerged from seasons they once wished had never happened. The same pattern appears in ordinary life. A person loses a job and discovers abilities they never knew they possessed. A person experiences heartbreak and gains a deeper understanding of themselves and others. A person faces financial hardship and develops discipline, gratitude, and resourcefulness. A person encounters health challenges and learns to appreciate moments that were previously taken for granted. None of these experiences feel pleasant while they are unfolding, yet many people eventually look back and realize that adversity changed them in ways comfort never could. Epictetus understood this reality deeply, which is why he stated, "Difficulties show what men are. Hardship acts as a mirror. It reveals habits, beliefs, strengths, weaknesses, and character traits that remain hidden during easier times. When conditions are favorable, many qualities remain untested. Difficulty removes that protection and exposes what exists beneath the surface. A Stoic does not fear this process because self-knowledge is valuable. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to understand oneself more clearly and to strengthen what requires strengthening." This does not mean a Stoic seeks suffering or celebrates pain for its own sake. Hardship is difficult precisely because it hurts. Loss still feels heavy. Failure still stings. Disappointment still carries emotional weight. Stoicism does not ask a person to pretend otherwise. It asks them to respond wisely when adversity inevitably arrives. The challenge becomes learning how to transform suffering into something useful rather than allowing suffering to become a permanent source of bitterness and stagnation. One of the most powerful questions a person can ask during difficult times is whether their energy is moving toward growth or toward resistance. Many people become trapped in endless cycles of asking why something happened. They search for perfect explanations and complete certainty. The Stoic gradually shifts attention toward different questions. What can be learned from this experience? What strengths can be developed here? What actions remain available today? These questions direct attention toward growth, responsibility, and forward movement rather than remaining trapped within the pain itself. Every obstacle contains a choice. The obstacle can become a wall that consumes attention, drains energy, and deepens suffering, or it can become material for growth, wisdom, and resilience. Life continues presenting challenges because challenge is woven into existence itself. The Stoic understands that every setback carries the potential to teach, strengthen, and refine. With each difficulty encountered and faced honestly, the person develops a deeper trust in their ability to endure uncertainty, meet adversity with courage, and continue walking forward through whatever path life places before them. Adversity has a way of testing more than patience. It tests commitment, discipline, responsibility, and the willingness to continue moving when every emotion is asking for stillness. Difficult seasons often arrive carrying exhaustion, disappointment, uncertainty, and doubt. During those moments, the mind begins offering tempting invitations. It suggests waiting for better circumstances, waiting for motivation, waiting for confidence, waiting for relief. Yet life continues moving whether those feelings arrive or not. The responsibilities of being a human being remain present each day, quietly waiting to be met. Many people believe progress is made during moments of inspiration. They imagine transformation happens through sudden breakthroughs, powerful realizations, or bursts of motivation. Those moments can certainly help, yet most meaningful change is built in a far less dramatic way. It is built through ordinary actions performed repeatedly despite imperfect conditions. It is built through showing up when enthusiasm is absent. It is built through keeping promises to oneself during difficult periods. The Stoics understood that character is shaped through consistent action far more than temporary emotion. One of the greatest dangers during hardship is the temptation to abandon duty altogether. A setback occurs, and attention becomes consumed by the setback. A disappointment arrives, and every thought begins orbiting around the disappointment. Gradually, important responsibilities start slipping away. Work becomes neglected, relationships become neglected, personal growth becomes neglected. The mind becomes absorbed by suffering and loses sight of what still requires attention. This is how adversity often expands beyond its original size and begins affecting areas of life that were never part of the initial challenge. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly returned to this idea because he understood how easy it is to become distracted by discomfort. Facing his own immense burdens, he reminded himself of a simple truth when he wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I have to go to work as a human being.'" These words carry a powerful sense of responsibility. They remind the listener that every day arrives with duties attached to it. The weather of the mind may change from one morning to the next, yet the opportunity to act with purpose remains available. Life continues asking for participation even during difficult seasons. This perspective becomes especially valuable when sadness, anger, frustration, or discouragement begin taking root. Emotions are part of the human experience and deserve acknowledgement. A Stoic does not pretend emotions do not exist. A Stoic observes them honestly and understands their presence without surrendering control to them. Feelings can provide information, yet they are poor leaders when given complete authority. The challenge is learning how to feel deeply while still acting wisely. This balance allows a person to move forward without denying their humanity. The small actions performed during adversity often carry greater importance than they appear to in the moment. Getting out of bed, making the phone call, completing the task, taking the walk, keeping the commitment, speaking with integrity, caring for family. These actions may seem insignificant when viewed individually, yet they create momentum. Momentum becomes progress, and progress creates evidence that life is still moving forward despite present difficulties. The person begins rebuilding trust in themselves, one action at a time. Epictetus understood that action must follow intention, which is why he offered this guidance. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. There is a directness in these words that cuts through hesitation and excuse. Every person holds an image of the qualities they admire: strength, wisdom, courage, patience, discipline, resilience, integrity. These qualities do not emerge through wishing alone. They are developed through repeated action, especially when circumstances make those actions difficult. The path toward becoming a stronger person is built through daily choices that align with the character one seeks to cultivate. The Stoic understands that waiting for perfect conditions often becomes a form of delay. Life rarely arranges itself into ideal circumstances before asking for effort. Challenges appear without invitation. Responsibilities remain regardless of emotional readiness. The next necessary action may be small, but it still matters. One step taken during adversity often carries more value than 10 steps taken when everything feels easy. The person who continues moving develops a quiet confidence that cannot be borrowed from external conditions because it has been earned through experience. There is also a deeper truth hidden within duty itself. When attention remains focused entirely on personal suffering, the mind often becomes trapped inside its own struggles. Duty redirects attention outward. It reminds a person that others still depend on them. Their work still matters. Their words still matter. Their actions still matter. By contributing, serving, building, helping, and acting with purpose, energy begins flowing in a constructive direction. The person stops feeding sorrow through constant attention and begins creating something useful with the strength that remains available. This is why the Stoics placed such importance on action. They understood that adversity cannot always be removed immediately. Some storms require time, some wounds require healing, some challenges require endurance. Yet, even within those realities, a person retains the ability to choose their next action. That choice may appear small, yet small actions repeated consistently possess tremendous power. Through duty, discipline, and steady effort, the person continues meeting life where it is, carrying themselves forward through uncertainty while remaining anchored to purpose and responsibility. Two people can stand in the same storm and walk away carrying entirely different experiences. The rain falls on both. The wind pushes against both. The challenge itself may be nearly identical, yet one person emerges stronger while the other remains trapped in bitterness and despair. The difference is often found in something invisible. It is found in the meaning assigned to the experience. It is found in the thoughts repeated each day and the perspective through which the hardship is viewed. This idea sits at the center of Stoic philosophy, because the Stoics understood that human beings do not simply react to events, they react to their interpretation of events. The mind constantly creates stories, explanations, predictions, and judgments. Some of these judgments help a person move forward with clarity and wisdom. Others deepen suffering and create burdens that extend far beyond the original challenge. A setback becomes a permanent identity. A mistake becomes evidence of personal failure. A disappointment becomes proof that life is unfair. The event passes, but the judgment remains, continuing to generate pain long after the circumstance itself has changed. Marcus Aurelius spent years reflecting on this reality while facing enormous pressures and responsibilities. Through careful observation, he recognized that the mind possesses tremendous influence over emotional experience. This insight appears in one of his most powerful teachings. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. These words invite a person to pause and examine the role their own interpretation may be playing. They encourage a deeper level of self-awareness. They remind the listener that perspective deserves the same attention as circumstance. This does not mean that difficult events are easy. Loss still hurts. Illness still creates hardship. Rejection still leaves an emotional mark. The Stoics never suggested that pain could simply be wished away through positive thinking. Their focus was on preventing unnecessary suffering from attaching itself to unavoidable pain. The challenge is learning to see events clearly without allowing destructive interpretations to take root and expand beyond reality. This practice creates space between what happened and the meaning assigned to what happened. Many fears gain their strength from imagination rather than direct experience. A person begins worrying about something that might happen tomorrow, next month, or next year. The mind starts creating detailed scenarios and rehearsing future disasters. Hours, days, and even years can be spent carrying the emotional weight of events that never occur. Seneca observed this tendency often, and modern life continues to provide endless opportunities for it. News, uncertainty, economic concerns, health worries, and countless unknowns can pull attention away from the present moment and into futures that exist only in imagination. Epictetus addressed this tendency with remarkable clarity when he wrote, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of things." This statement remains just as relevant today as it was centuries ago. Every day people encounter situations that trigger immediate judgments. A criticism is interpreted as a personal attack. A setback is interpreted as defeat. A delay is interpreted as disaster. The Stoic learns to pause before fully accepting these interpretations. They create enough distance to examine whether their perspective is helping them see clearly or simply feeding unnecessary suffering. Resentment often operates in a similar way. The mind returns repeatedly to events that cannot be changed and continues reliving them as though they are still unfolding. Anger becomes attached to old memories. Frustration becomes attached to old decisions. The person remains emotionally connected to circumstances that exist only in the past. This creates a strange form of imprisonment because the body lives in the present while the mind remains occupied by yesterday. A Stoic gradually learns to loosen this attachment and redirect attention toward what remains within reach today. One of the most liberating realizations a person can experience is the understanding that thoughts are not always accurate reflections of reality. Thoughts arrive constantly, often carrying emotion, urgency, and conviction. Some deserve attention, others deserve examination. A Stoic develops the habit of questioning assumptions rather than automatically believing them. Is this fear based on facts or imagination? Is this resentment helping or harming? Is this judgment bringing clarity or creating confusion? These questions create mental space and allow wisdom to enter where reaction once dominated. As perspective begins to change, suffering often begins to change as well. The challenge may still exist. The uncertainty may still exist. The difficult season may still be unfolding. Yet the mind is no longer adding unnecessary weight to every experience. Attention returns to reality instead of becoming trapped in stories about reality. The person begins working with the situation as it exists, rather than fighting against interpretations that only deepen distress. Clarity replaces confusion, and energy that was once consumed by resistance becomes available for action, patience, growth, and steady movement through whatever circumstances the present moment happens to contain. The Stoics understood that perspective is one of the greatest forms of power available to any person. External events cannot always be controlled, predicted, or prevented. The way those events are viewed remains an area where growth is possible every day. Through careful observation, honest reflection, and disciplined thinking, a person develops the ability to meet adversity with greater wisdom. They learn to see challenges more clearly, fears more accurately, and opportunities more readily, allowing them to navigate life's changing seasons with a calmer and steadier mind. Life never promises a path free from uncertainty. No amount of preparation can remove every setback. No amount of planning can prevent every disappointment. The future remains unwritten, and each person eventually encounters circumstances they did not choose and challenges they never expected. Many spend years searching for guarantees before allowing themselves to move forward. The Stoics understood that such guarantees do not exist. Peace is found in developing the strength to walk through uncertainty rather than waiting for uncertainty to disappear. The desire for a life without hardship is understandable. Every person wishes for health, stability, meaningful relationships, financial security, and years filled with favorable circumstances. Yet life continues unfolding according to its own nature. Seasons change, circumstances change, people change, fortunes rise and fall. The Stoic accepts this reality without becoming defeated by it. They understand that resilience is built through engagement with life as it is, not through attachment to a version of life that exists only in imagination. Many of the qualities people admire most are forged under pressure. Wisdom often emerges from mistakes. Patience grows through waiting. Courage develops when fear is present. Endurance is strengthened through difficulty. Seneca understood this process deeply when he wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." These words remind us that challenge is often part of refinement. The very experiences that feel uncomfortable today may be contributing to strengths that become visible only years later. When adversity arrives, it is natural to focus on what has been lost. The mind wants immediate relief. It wants certainty about what comes next. It wants proof that everything will eventually work out. Yet life rarely reveals its full meaning in the middle of a storm. Some lessons require patience. Some answers arrive gradually. Some forms of growth occur quietly beneath the surface while the challenge is still unfolding. The Stoic learns to continue moving forward even when the entire path cannot yet be seen. This requires a different relationship with reality. Resistance creates constant friction because it demands that life becomes something other than what it is. Acceptance creates clarity because it begins with truth. Marcus Aurelius pointed toward this mindset when he wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together." There is a profound wisdom within these words. They encourage a person to engage fully with the life they have rather than becoming consumed by longing for a different one. Energy returns to the present moment, where action remains possible and where life is actually being lived. The person who embraces reality does not become passive. They continue working toward goals. They continue improving themselves. They continue striving to act with wisdom and integrity. The difference is found in their relationship with outcomes. They understand that effort belongs to them, while many results do not. This understanding reduces unnecessary frustration and allows attention to remain focused on what can actually be influenced. The mind becomes steadier because it is no longer carrying the impossible burden of controlling everything. Hope also begins to change. It becomes quieter and stronger. It is no longer dependent upon immediate success or favorable circumstances. It is rooted in the understanding that life continues moving, that seasons continue changing, and that today's difficulty is not necessarily tomorrow's reality. The Stoic recognizes that every storm in their past eventually gave way to a different day. Some storms left scars, some storms left lessons, some storms revealed strengths that were previously unknown. Yet the storm itself never remained forever. Epictetus captured this truth through a powerful observation when he wrote, "Circumstances do not make the man, they only reveal him to himself." Adversity often strips away distractions and exposes character with remarkable clarity. It reveals how a person responds when comfort disappears. It reveals where discipline is strong and where it requires strengthening. It reveals whether wisdom remains present when emotions become intense. A Stoic views these revelations as opportunities for growth rather than reasons for discouragement. There is a quiet confidence that develops when a person stops fearing every challenge that may appear on the horizon. They begin trusting their ability to respond, adapt, learn, and endure. Difficulties still arrive. Uncertainty still exists. Change continues its work, yet something inside becomes more stable. The person understands that while external conditions may shift repeatedly, character can remain anchored. This inner steadiness becomes a source of strength during both calm seasons and turbulent ones. The path forward is rarely free from obstacles, yet obstacles no longer possess the same power to create despair. The person has learned that hardship can teach, that patience can strengthen, and that difficult chapters can contain opportunities hidden beneath the surface. They continue meeting each day with purpose, carrying their responsibilities with greater wisdom, accepting reality with greater clarity, and moving through life's changing seasons with a deeper trust in their ability to face whatever the next dawn happens to bring.